David, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Okay. Sorry about that. We had a a bit of a tech issue on my end. This is live stuff, so anything can happen. How is everyone today? Well,
It's fun. It's Ghostbusters
Hello.
Day.
Hi!
It's Ghostbusters Day.
Hi,
Happy
guys.
Ghostbusters Day!
Hey! Oh, happy Ghostbusters Day!
all right. So I am Jim Vavida with IGN, and we are joined today by the wonderful cast and filmmakers behind Ghostbusters Afterlife. We have director Jason Reitman, producer
Hey.
Ivan Reitman,
Hi.
cast members Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace,
Hello.
Celeste O'Connor, and Logan Kim. Thank you all so much for joining us. And again, sorry about that little technical snafu on my end, but I'm gonna just go over some of our ground rules, if you will, for this. We're gonna split this up into different sessions where we're gonna talk about different parts of the movie. And then we're also going to have, after that fun Q&A portion, we're going to have ourselves a little trivia. It's going to get, it's going to be,
A bloodbath.
a little competitive.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
It's gonna get real, folks.
Yeah, it's
Get
gonna
real.
get real.
So let me set up the film a little bit here. This is a continuation of the storyline set up by the first two films. And we obviously, we need to set up who some of these characters are. We have a family of characters that we are following in this one. And we have McKenna, you are, I'm sorry, hold on one second here. Too many docs open. So let's start with you. Carrie Coon is playing Kelly, who's the strong-willed mom. And then Phoebe is the young scientist of the group. She is played by McKenna Grace. We also have Trevor, who is played by Finn Wolfhard. We have Mr. Groberson, who is played by Paul Rudd, who is not with us today, but we do have Logan Kim, who plays Podcast. And then we have Lucky, who's played by Celeste O'Connor. Now, our first topic that we want to go over today is really about family, because this is the first real Ghostbusters film that focuses on a family. Yes, I know we had Oscar and Dana, the second one, but we do have a different sort of plot around this one. This is the first one that focuses on family. So at what point, and this one's for Jason and Ivan to address, at what point in creating the story did that story focus on elements of family? So can you tell us a little bit about the challenges that the family will be facing in the film, and sort of at what point in the development of that story did you realize this was going to be a family story? Jason, let's kick off with you.
Hey, before I do, I think we're missing one of our most important family members, and I know Carrie Coon's still trying to get on. So if you can upgrade her from listener to talker, that would be awesome.
Okay.
I also think that Logan's having some technical difficulties. He's been messaging me. I think he's also a listener.
I just requested. This is a classic first technological blip for.
Well, I am. We are actually having our people look into that right now, so I apologize about that. Jason and Ivan, are you able to speak?
Yeah, I can talk. Dad,
I can talk. Hey, father and son, ready to go. I'm the oldest person on this line, and somehow I've managed to get on. That's good to know.
So again, this is the first Ghostbusters movie to really address be a family story, despite, having Oscar and Dana in the first one. So can you talk a little bit about at what point in the development of this did you realize it was going to be a family story, and sort of the challenges that you faced in crafting it that way?
Well, before a league of Ghostbusters fans come down on you hard for saying that Oscar was in the first one, because he actually was only in the
No, I'm
second
sorry, the
one.
second one. That's right.
Um,
I think I said it
uh,
right the first time. I hope.
you do not want their wrath.
No.
My father and dad, if you don't mind me speaking for you for a second,
I
my
love it.
father always described the first one as a movie about going into business. It's about four guys who go into business together, and uh, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I have to admit that I never imagined myself making a Ghostbusters film. It's a film that I grew up watching all the time. I was an enormous fan of it, but I just couldn't imagine personally picking up the proton pack. It was just too daunting and it was too scary. And one day, the concept and idea for Afterlife came to me, and it came to me in a few visual images. And the longer I thought about it, the story began to evolve, and it's really that way that it became a story about a family. It's just the first way that I imagined it. I saw a young girl with a proton pack in the middle of a wheat field, and I saw a teenage boy discovering Ecto One, except it didn't run anymore and needed to be fixed. And I imagined him, basically, uh, Tokyo drifting through the same wheat field, and really that's where the idea came from.
And if I can add on,
Please.
it's okay to talk about it as a family film because really the main characters are all in a family, but really it's a Ghostbusters movie, and that's what I'm really so proud and excited about. That this movie, much like the first two, really captures the spirit, both the comedy, the scares, the emotionality of those movies, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm so thrilled that it was Jason that was really behind this and work this out.
Now, Ivan, what was it like for you to basically pass the proton pack, if you will, to your son? So keeping in that family vein there.
Well, it's the greatest honor and the greatest thrill that you can have as a parent, uh, to have one of your children sort of do the things that you love and to carry on a story that you began, or at least had a portion, had a part in beginning. And so it's nothing but a thrill.
Well, I want to open this up now to the cast. For Finn, Carrie, McKenna, Celeste, Logan. I hope that we're all set up now. Everyone can hear and speak.
I think
Is
I
Logan
think
even here?
I don't think Logan's here. I don't think Carrie's here.
Oh no. Okay.
Hmm.
Oh,
But I'll take this momentary pause to also say that Paul Rudd's character is Mr. Gruberson. That's the correct pronunciation of his name.
okay. Thank you for that. Um, let's then Finn and Celeste and McKenna. Where were you when you got the call, and what does it mean for you to become kind of part of the Ghostbusters universe? Finn, why don't we start with you?
Well, I don't. It wasn't a call. It was like kind of a weird fever dream. And I had auditioned for. I had self taped in my room at home in Vancouver, and I didn't know it was Ghostbusters. I knew it was Jason though. And then I got just an email, like a kind of a cryptic email saying, come to Jason's house in Los Angeles and read the script. And then I kind of got to Jason's house, and I realized then that it was a Ghostbusters movie. When I got to Los Angeles, I kind of figured it out. And then I read, and Jason was still, the script was, I would say, basically there, but I think it's always important for everyone to hear it out loud. And this is before it went into production. And I did that, and then afterwards, it was kind of it. It was almost like it was the easiest audition experience of my life because it didn't feel like an audition. It just felt like I showed up at a person that I really respect's house, and kind of at the end was like, "So you want to do this?" And it was like I could not fathom. I couldn't believe it, and I was like, "Wow, that was easy." And it was like, and then it was like just the joy of getting to be there when, like auditioning with Celeste, and getting to be there when Jason cast Celeste, and it was just like an incredible experience.
McKenna, how about you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was shooting something in Atlanta actually, and it was I did a bunch of auditions before then. I figured out that it was a Ghostbusters film probably because originally I think that the script, the lines that we had to learn for the first few auditions were like boy and girl, and you didn't know what it was. You were just like, this is an important film. You can't know what it is, and you're like, oh, okay. But I think I found out what it was it whenever I did the chemistry reads? And I got to read with Logan, and they had a proton pack there.
That's a big giveaway right there. Now, I want to just also point out that throughout our session here, IGN is going to be tweeting out uh, first looks from the film, some images and fun stuff. So as you follow along, keep an eye out for that. I want to move on though to the setting of the film, and it is what makes this one different is I feel like it's the first one that I think this is the first time we've ever had a Ghostbusters movie that isn't set entirely in New York, right? So this is. Can you tell us a little bit, Jason, about the setting of the movie and why we're not in New York City, which was such a character of the first two movies?
This really was. And I should say that the movie is not set at all in New York. It's set in the middle of the country, and this is something that my writing partner Gil Kennan and Gil's, I just saw Gil's image pop up, so he's listening to. Hey, Gil, out in London.
Be careful.
Yeah, exactly what I say. I'll only attribute anything that I'm nervous about to him. The After this image popped in my head as far as who these characters were, Gil and I began brainstorming. It's our first script together as a third script, and in starting to kind of tell the story to each other, we realized that we wanted to go somewhere new, and we wanted this to feel as though we were discovering all this Ghostbusters equipment somewhere new. And I have to watch myself. I'm having to speak a little bit carefully because I just don't want to give anything away. But the more that we imagined, we knew that we were right, that this film had to get out of the city, that this had to be about a family discovering who they were, and that it made sense to get out of New York and go someplace that didn't look at all like the original film. It didn't look like the city. And even though we were kind of thrilled about embracing the ephemera of the first film and, Ecto-1 and proton packs and traps and everything that we associate with the kind of color palette of the original, we wanted it to feel like, this thing that, any person, that goes looking in their parents' or their grandparents' basement or attic, hoping to find something that reveals some sort of secret about who they are and why they are unique and why they are special. This is what I wanted the characters of this film to go through. And I just thought, finding Ecto-1, dilapidated in a barn just sounded fascinating to both Gil and I.
Well, in this setting, we are introduced to some new characters, and I want to say I'm actually kind of starstruck to be talking to you all today. So I get that out of the way. I'm very, this is a real thrill. I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan, and to get to actually hang out and chat with you guys today has been a lot of these. Just great. So I want to say, though, we do meet some new characters here in this setting, including your character, Celeste, Lucky. So, what can you tell us about her and how she meets Finn's character?
Yeah. So my character's name is Lucky. She's awesome. She's basically she's a girl from a really small town. Small town in the middle of nowhere, and this town is like definitely her home, but at the same time, she's always wanted to leave. She's always been searching for something more, and I think that she's always known that there is something more for her outside of her hometown. And then she meets the new kid in town at the diner she works at, which is Finn's character. And so through becoming friends and getting involved in his story and what's going on in his life, she finds herself. She finds her courage and her determination, and she also finds that adventure that she's always been searching for. So that's really cool.
Now, there's another familiar character that comes back for this film, and that's the Ecto One. Let's face it, that car is as much of a member of the Ghostbusters team as any of the original characters, Venkman, all of them. So, Ivan and Jason, if you could talk a little bit about bringing that back for this film. I know you have to dance around spoilers, but let's face it, it really wouldn't be a Ghostbusters movie without Ecto One in there.
Yeah, it certainly plays a very important role in this film, and I think um, it's kind of wonderful that it's discovered in such a dilapidated state, and that Finn's character gets a chance to sort of work on it and make it his own. I think there's in the process, many years have gone by since we first saw it in the sort of late '80s, and much time has gone by before it's discovered in this movie. So it's possible that things have changed on it, and we discover those things as part of the film.
Well, that is a very interesting point because Finn, you have a moment with the Ecto One. That's something that's got to be a real kick for you as an actor to just be able to get behind the wheel. What was that like?
Well, I mean, the coolest. I don't know how else to describe. I mean, it's the coolest. It literally. I mean, also from like, it the Ecto One. It wasn't like it's not like we were like filming on a green screen. It's like we were driving this car. We had stunt drivers driving this car. This car had a Corvette engine in it, and it was completely souped up, and like there was so it, and we I think I don't know the details, but like I didn't Sony we had to buy because they don't make they obviously don't make those hearses anymore, right? I guess it would be an ambulance. So they had to buy shells. Didn't they have to? And Jason, didn't they have to remake the Ecto One essentially from the ground up?
Yeah, I mean, it's an extraordinarily rare car, and there was only 100. So the year that Ecto, won, I believe it's 1958, or 59. Now I'm mistaking it, but they only made 100 of those body types that year, and even if you look at the 60, there's slight trim differences, and we wanted to get every single detail on this movie right. I just respect the people who love Ghostbusters way too much, and I want to try to get every detail right for them. I was heartbroken when people started noticing that the ladder was on the wrong side, and they didn't know why it was on the wrong side yet. And in my head and in my heart, I was like, "There's a reason, trust me." But
Yeah, finally, we can tell the Ghostbusters fans. See, look, it is different. There's a reason why.
Well, one of the things that's different about it, Jason, is that we're seeing this gunner seat. So, can you talk to us about that added feature?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I love this car my entire life. I just think it's one of the coolest cars in film history. I think if you're listing the top 5 cars in film history, Ecto One is in there every single time. I don't care whose list. And we worked with amazing car people to bring it back to life. And as Finn said, we we juiced the hell out of it. I mean, I make fun of my dad a little bit for that shot from '84 as it kind of flies out and does a 180 out of the firehouse, and they so clearly undercranked it like a Chaplin film to get it going fast. And I knew we wanted that thing to really fly. So when you see this car going and you see, Finn driving or McKenna hanging out the side, yes, we did some green screen for some of the dangerous stuff, but we really got that car going. And when we thought about, when Gil and I were thinking about what to do with this car, we thought, okay, well, what would have Egon had done to Ecto One over the course of the year since we last saw him? And what would have happened to the proton packs, the traps, the goggles? And this was one of kind of the great thrills of writing on this script is you get to kind of do fan fiction, right? You start to think about, how would they have worked on this equipment? And that's where the gunner seat came in. We wanted to put ghost busting into motion. When I thought about, the three previous films, the characters were often, standing on their feet and holding a line, but there was something static about ghost busting. And if we thought there was something cool we could do, it was to make ghost busting, bring it up to 75 miles an hour and swing it around corners and coast and catch ghosts on the run.
Now, McKenna, you get to sit in the gunner seat. What was that like?
Gosh, this is nerve-wracking because I'm like, gosh, McKenna, don't say anything. But I'm very, very nervous. But it was really, really cool. It was honestly a dream come true. I've always been obsessed with Ghostbusters. So not only to be a part of this franchise and work with Jason and Ivan and everyone, to be actually able to sit in the Ecto One in a gunner seat, it was absolutely magical.
Well, I don't want anyone spoiling the movies, so I'm going to move on to a different topic. And Jason, you touched on this a minute ago, but ghost traps. Can you tell us about Paul Rudd's role in the movie and how he kind of stumbles into this Ghostbusters universe?
Well, Paul Rudd is a science teacher, and science has always been central to Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters believe in science. I think that's really important. And Phoebe, who McKenna plays, is a scientist herself, and she finds herself in this small town in a summer school class filled with delinquents, and her teacher, Paul Rudd, immediately takes a liking to her because he sees a like-minded human being, and he becomes a bit of a mentor for her.
Now, we unfortunately, I don't think we still don't have Carrie, do we? So
it sounds like they're working on it, but
yeah.
I keep seeing her face up here saying that she's a listener, so I don't know if that's...
I've been texting with Carrie, and she really wants to be on this and is trying to find a way to get on. There's some sort of technological hiccup,
Yeah.
but
well, let's don't worry. If hopefully we'll get her on as soon as possible here. Logan is not on either yet, is he? Now, all right. So McKenna, back to you. You get to basically play with the traps here. So what was it like for you the first time you got to see some of these gadgets like the ghost trap?
Well, it was mind-blowing, just getting to see all of these super cool, like, Ghostbusters things, especially having, like, I hate saying, like, I grew up watching the movies, because I'm only, like, 14, so, like, growing up, getting to watch Ghostbusters and be obsessed with everything about it, getting to see it in the flesh, getting to see all of these sketches and photos and the actual packs and traps and getting to see them in front of me and touch them, and just it's been insane, absolutely insane.
Finn, how about you? What'd you think when you started seeing all these kind of iconic gadgets popping up on set?
Well, I think why also going back to what Jason said before. By the way, I'm outside. I don't know if you can hear birds chirping. It sounds like I'm in like a Disney movie. I'm in like Snow White. But the thing that Jason said earlier, which is like totally true, is that almost he got to write it as like I mean, it's a Ghostbusters movie, but also Jason's a giant fan, obviously, and it comes from a really respectful place when it comes to being a fan, almost like it's like writing fan fiction. And the thing I think that fans will really appreciate, and I definitely appreciated, was that, there is CG in this movie, but Jason from the beginning was pretty adamant and told me early on that he would be using a lot of practical effects, especially with the props, with makeup and sets and backgrounds. And that to me was why I think also I was so over the moon, being on set, was because it really felt like we were making a movie, like we were making a movie in the back, especially because Ghostbusters is such a big thing and a big franchise. But like, to be honest, it really didn't feel like we were filming a big movie in the best way possible. It kind of felt like we were added almost to this family reunion, um, and welcomed, and we were just kind of like left to our own devices to make this really fun movie, which you don't get. I think that's like incredibly rare. Um, and so every chance I got to see you know, what was being used props wise and everything was a treat.
Celeste, how about you? I have a couple of questions about your character, but let's start with: is your character even a believer in the supernatural? And then, what can you say about how she reacts to all this gadgetry, and then you yourself as an actor being on set and seeing that stuff?
It's a good question. I think Lucky is a little skeptical at first. I think there's definitely some skepticism, but I think through becoming friends with Finn's character, and just being involved in his life, she really gets pulled into the adventure of it all, which I think is something that she has been looking for a long time in her own life. But for me, I mean, it was so insanely cool. I had never done a big studio film like this before. The project I did before was a really small indie movie, and then so going from that to Ghostbusters was crazy. Seeing all the gadgets, the Ecto One, I was like, I was like totally overwhelmed coming onto set and seeing the studios, just being like, do I belong here? Like, how did I get here? Did somebody make some sort of mistake? But I mean, it was so amazing. Like, growing up, my dad was a huge fan of the Ghostbusters movies, and he showed them to us when we were younger too. So I was just like totally in the same boat as Finn and McKenna. Like,
I am not a
so
jealous
impressed.
person, but I have to say, getting to be on the set of a Ghostbusters movie or playing with any of those toys is like, I'm jealous of you all for getting to do that. Um, let's talk a little bit more though about these gadgets. Jason, ecto goggles. What do they do? What's the deal with them?
I wish Logan was here to talk about it. I wish Logan
No.
was on right now so you could
Hey
meet him
guys,
because
I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
there's
Carrie!
Carrie. Carrie Coon.
Hey!
Grandma figured it out.
Woo!
Oh my God, it's so great to have you. Thank you
Oh
so
my god!
much.
And okay, we have about 30 seconds left, so everybody.
That's my boy.
Well, we're just in the middle of Jason explaining the ecto goggles. We can hold that if we can get Logan on. I know they're trying. So maybe let me backtrack a little bit. I know I'm breaking the flow of our thing here, but Carrie, tell us about the dynamic your character has with Paul Rudd's character, and it must have been incredibly fun to work together in this one. But tell us a little bit about the dynamic between those characters, if you can.
Well, he's a miserable human being, as I'm sure you know. So that was dreadful. I really had to work very hard. He's not very
Hashtag the truth
charismatic.
revealed. There we go.
He's not very entertaining. Well, I'm playing a mom who's just trying to make ends meet. I'm playing a mom who's really desperate and looking for resources and trying to keep her family afloat. And let's just say Callie hasn't had a lot of extra time for the other parts of her life. And so when she bumps into someone who shares her cynical sense of humor, it's nice to see her get to have a little fun too. And
Is it
Paul, of course, is a lovely, a really lovely, sweet guy, and a lot of fun to work with. And I wish he was here to give me compliments.
I will say it's just an incredible ensemble that you've put together, Jason. And I am very sorry that we're having so many tech difficulties here trying to get Logan on. But what can you kind of tell us about the Ecto goggles and what they do and all that kind of jazz?
Well, first I want to really back up what like McKenna and Finn were saying about putting on the equipment for the first time. There is no way to hold your cool when you put on a proton pack. And I've now watched a lot of people, some people would come to set and they would try it on, and we'd have, the actors, I witnessed them all put on a proton pack for the first time. And there's a very unique smile that happens when someone puts on the pack and holds the wand. And they just become, I don't care how old you are, you just become a kid again. And I knew we had cast the right people, frankly. Each time McKenna, Finn, Celeste, Logan put on the pack, because their thrill and their passion for it it was so true. The goggles, obviously, are used for seeing ghosts and catching ghosts. And the thing that we added to them, which you saw in the trailer, is that they also now take Polaroids.
Yeah. McKenna, what was it like putting on that proton pack?
Oh my Lord, I cried. Didn't I? I probably did. I
You
wouldn't be
actually
surprised.
did cry. That's the actual truth. I
Yeah.
remember that moment, and my father was there. It was really wonderful.
Of course I did. I mean, like, even if I put on a proton pack now, I'd still cry. There's not a day that I ever got used to it on set, even though we worked for, like, I don't know, 2-3 months. I never got used to it. Every day getting to see all of these amazing things.
I remember you put it on in the camera test, and it was like, I think you were just, by the end of it, I think we were all very used to it. And also, that was the other thing in the original Ghostbusters. I mean, Ivan, didn't those packs weigh like an insane amount?
They were so
Yes.
heavy.
They,
I had
they,
little strap burns on my arms.
I remember Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd coming on the set, really being thrilled and picking up the packs themselves and saying, "Hey, these are way lighter than ours."
Yeah.
Just making fun of you guys.
Yeah, I remember seeing McKenna put on the pack in the camera tests and just kind of losing her balance for a second and then going up. It's really good.
It was very heavy, and I am a small person, but it was crazy. I still can't believe it. Whenever I look back at shooting and all of the memories that I made and all the things that I got to do was so exciting. I'm ever, ever gonna get used to being in a Ghostbusters movie.
Is there any changes to the proton pack in terms of like what it, some of the other features on it, or is it the proton pack we love and remember?
They're real now. They actually are functional.
Yeah.
That's where we keep Paul Rudd now. That's right.
The proton pack is the proton pack you love and remember, and the mold that we used to actually build this was built off of the 84, one of the actual original 84 packs. And what we just tried to do was, again, do the visual storytelling of what kind of little welds would have happened and wire changes and splits and breaks and cracks and everything that makes it feel as though that these packs have been used over the course of 3 decades. And one of the thrills of working on this film was working with craftspeople who all grew up watching and loving Ghostbusters. So whether it was, our whole team building all the Ghostbusters equipment, our armorer, Ben, Arian, who, was doing all our prosthetics work and designing creatures, like physical creatures, that were being puppeteered on set. These are all artisans who, have less and less opportunity to, do their heart to the highest degree because people aren't doing physical objects like this anymore. There's so much CG. And B, grew up loving Ghostbusters, and you can see their joy in the finished work. You could see their joy in the way that they thought about, okay, what would have happened to this pack over the course of years? What are these scratches from? They're thinking about the battles that the Ghostbusters would have had.
Now, I'm going to ask everyone this question because I'm kind of curious. Have any of you ever had run-ins with ghosts in real life? Do you even believe in that stuff?
I'll say, because I've worked with Dan the longest. Danny Aykroyd really believes in it. His father believed in it, wrote a book about it, and he would tell me stories because I was skeptical, as many people are, and I guess most people. But he had a belief in the truth, and it was really the basis for the concept right from the beginning. And it sort of made us it made us sort of take the whole thing seriously as an opportunity. And and I mean, I still have those conversations with Dan.
So who's the Dan Aykroyd then of this cast in terms of being the true believer in the supernatural?
The true believer of this movie is sadly the only one we don't have on yet, and that's Logan. Logan's character
Logan.
is the absolute
Logan.
believer. He is 100% ready to believe.
Logan is like a legend now in this thing. He's like, he's
Well,
he's sort of
hopefully Logan joins, but he kind of is. Like, I think, without giving anything away, like, I think everyone that is listening will know who this kid is, because if from now on, I think he's so insanely talented, and he's a kid from Texas, and he had done like one acting class, and
he did a FedEx commercial.
He had done a
and
FedEx
then Ghostbusters.
commercial. He did a FedEx commercial, and then did a tape, and then he's the kind of heart of the movie, and kind of just walked on set. So and he also, the other thing is, what's crazy about him also is that he walked on set like he was like a 70-year-old like character actor, like kind of at the point in his career where he's kind of like over it, like in that way, like yeah, whatever, kind of just like shrugging his shoulders. I remember being like, who is this kid? Like, who is this kid just walks on set, and like, I mean, everyone's gonna know him now. But
like honestly, Finn, the most confident actor on set. Like, I would give a note, and he would look at me like, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about."
Carrie, are you a true believer in the supernatural?
I've had my share of minor run-ins. We used to hear boot steps in the barn. I grew up in a really old farmhouse that was in my family for generations, kind of inhabited, I would say, by the past. And so
basically, you
we
really
would have
are
like
your
an
character.
attic door that would swing open. We would hear odd things here and there. And I feel like I think it's a wise position to say we don't know what we don't know. I'm skeptical by nature. I do like evidence. I believe in science, but I think there's a lot of stuff we don't understand.
I'm going to, let's see. We're still trying to get Logan to join. God, this is such a bummer. I really want to talk to him, especially now that you've basically pitched him as like the character actor of character actors.
I'm gonna
gotta
try
meet this
calling
kid.
Logan. I'm gonna see if maybe if I call him and he picks up. Hold on.
Are you on your?
I'm gonna FaceTime him.
Believe the hype.
On
Yeah.
what? Are you gonna FaceTime on your computer?
No, I'm FaceTiming him from my phone. I'm on my mom's phone right now for this.
Oh yeah, do it. Then we can hear him.
He sent me to voicemail.
Oh
No, it rung for a second, and this kid, he sent me to voicemail. You know what?
You know what? Now it's his.
He's
turn
probably
now.
talking to his manager.
Yeah, he's firing someone for sure right now.
I think it's important that Logan never do an interview. I think he has to become the Daniel Day of this film.
Yeah, he's
Sneak around
he's
him.
gonna be the urban legend. Everybody in every interview, they're just gonna want to
Well,
talk
it's like
about what's Logan like.
It's like how Bill Murray has that, like, he doesn't really, like, you just call
The 800 line.
like a hotmail number. It's like that already, but with Logan.
Last I heard, Logan moved to Italy and became a cobbler. I think we have to convince him to come back to acting.
Yeah, I heard he was doing a lot of carpentry work in Northern California.
I mean, he just became a legend already. I mean, that had to be one hell of a FedEx.
You're welcome, Logan.
Well, I'll tell you this. One of the thrills of doing this film was, on one side, working with established actors who I was an enormous fan of. And look, Paul and Carrie are just brilliant actors, the kind of actors that every director dreams of working with. And then on the other side of it, young actors, both like McKenna and Finn, who had actually done a lot already, despite how young they are. But then, Celeste, who is an independent film actress, who really comes more from the kind of films that I've been making for the last decade. And then Logan, who, it was just like one of those moments where you see an audition, you go, who is this kid? And he did a self-tape in his home. And the moment it starts, it's like an animated character came to life, and he had all these different voices, and he was just an amazing physical actor. He kind of understood already the lens as well, and the way that he kind of popped in and out of frame. And then the moment we met him, we started meeting all these other characters he did. His Russian accent was kind of infamous on set. He was extraordinary.
God. Wait, y'all, I have a surprise.
Oh.
Hello.
Your voice has completely changed.
That's what I said. Okay, wait, here, Logan. Do you want to say something? Go ahead. Here.
How are all of you today?
We're celebrating you. You're like a legend already, dude. Like, I heard about the FedEx commercial. I heard about you knowing lenses, everything. How does it feel to be a living legend already at your young age?
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but I mean, to be a part of Ghostbusters, I mean, it's a huge honor. I don't know how I even got to this point in life, but here we are.
Look at that. Not only is he a legend in that regard, he's also a pitch perfect salesman. Look at that. Well,
do not be fooled. He's a con artist.
Look, I have to ask you then about your character, Logan. You see with the ecto goggles. What can you tell us about what they do and kind of why what you're going to do with them and all that kind of jazz?
Yeah. Well, the ecto goggles are like for locating and like identifying types of ghosts and their classes. And, in Afterlife, there's the new feature where I can actually take pictures with them. And I have to say that's probably my favorite feature about them. Just to press that button and just go, it just felt so cool. And I'll tell you one thing about them. I can barely see out of them on set. I remember it was like tunnel vision. I had like two little slots I could see out of. And one time I was like turning my head too fast and I accidentally whacked McKenna in the face with them. Sorry about that, McKenna, but that happens. So I had to get the learning curve with them. Yeah.
Remember whenever you fell on set? That one time you slipped and you fell so hard.
What are you talking about, McKenna?
There was a point that you slipped and you fell so hard on set that you fell off your head and just like went across the floor.
I think they've fallen like more than 10 times.
I do remember a lot of ecto goggles falling off your head.
Oh.
Well, remember we were always trying to get them to balance on your forehead the way that Aykroyd has them up on his forehead. But to get them into that position was way harder than we thought it would be.
Right. I had to always kind of look up. I couldn't really tilt down too much or look back too much, or they would just say.
I remember
bye-bye.
Jason one time was giving Logan he was giving Logan notes to look in a certain direction, and I remember Jason finished his note and then Logan looked directly at him and just took a moment and just went, "Jason, I can't see."
Hey guys, can Haskell say hi?
Hi, Haskell.
Haskell's the Jason Reitman of our Ghostbusters. He's the little boy who grew up on the set. So I imagine in 30 years he'll be directing one of the sequels.
We all can't wait.
What a thrill!
Now, the ecto is back. The proton pack is back. We obviously have another landmark kind of Ghostbusters staple is back as well, and that's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Now, what we do, one of the
Well, hold on. We don't have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is not back. We have new characters. We have the mini
right,
puffs.
the mini puffs. That was my next line, was to ask you about these mini puffs. What can you say about them? That was the first clip that we saw, and we
Right.
saw Ivan and Bill watching that clip earlier today. What can you tell us about these mini puffs?
Well, I can tell you that they want to watch the world burn, and they really enjoy it.
Now, the mini puffs are also going to be a toy from Hasbro. It's basically the Ghostbusters Plasma Series mini puffs 3-pack. And so it's like 3 articulated figures with 3 alternative heads that you can build your own marshmallow army. And then these figures are basically movie figure scale, so they're about 3.5 inches tall, the same size as the paranormal marshmallow mini puffs that we see in the movie. And then you can also pre-order them today, Ghostbusters Day, at HasbroPulse.com and most major retailers nationwide at a future date. So if you want to get your hands on some actual mini puffs and build yourself a marshmallow army, which it sounds like something, I don't know, Logan, it sounds like something, you're such a legend now. You seem like the kind of guy that should have a marshmallow army following him, but you can order them now at HasbroPulse.com. So I want to also just segue us into a little bit of fun here now. Not that we haven't been having fun; it's been a blast. But now it's going to get a little competitive. We're going to do a little trivia, and basically, the first one is going to be basically finishing a famous Ghostbusters quote. And what we're going to do is we're going to have the younger members of the cast basically test, let's just say, us over 30 somethings. Logan, I'm not sure, do you have, you should have, everyone should have some quotes that were sent to them. Do you have those available, Logan?
Yes, sir.
So do I think.
Yay! Okay, everything's working. Fantastic. Logan, what you test me first? Go ahead and throw me a Ghostbusters quote.
We came, we saw, we blank.
Kicked its ass. Woo! And that's by Peter Venkman, Bill Murray's character. McKenna, let's have you test Carrie.
Wait, hold on. I can't get my email pulled up. Hold on, wait, Logan, you go.
You want me to say your thing?
Yeah. Carrie? Wait, hold up. Why does everything over freaking this Zoom stuff have to be so complicated?
Because McKenna, technology hates us.
It really does today.
Logan, do you want to go ahead? We can swap out one of your later ones to McKenna to make up for it, Logan, or do you want to test Carrie here?
Okay, Miss Carrie. Ready?
Yes.
There is no Dana. There is only
Zoo. That was really easy. That's Dana Barry.
It was.
That was so easy, man.
Finn, how about we have you go ahead and test Ivan?
Okay, Ivan. Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say blank.
You say yes.
There it is.
I think anybody can do these.
Wow,
I think it's gonna get a little more. I think it's gonna get a little more tricky when we go to Ghostbusters 2.
All right.
Celeste, I think you have one for Jason.
Oh God, here we go.
Jason, I have a really, really hard one for you.
Okay, hit me.
All right. Don't cross the...
I believe it's don't cross the streams.
Highway? Freeway? Don't cross the freeway?
now it's going to get a little more difficult because while we can all quote Ghostbusters endlessly, sometimes, maybe you forget which character exactly may have said a certain quote. So now we're going to play Name the Quote. And Logan, I think you've got one for me. See if I can. Basically, you got to name the character who says the famous line.
McKenna did not get that last one. So you want her to say this?
No, don't worry. I've got it now. Trust me, y'all.
Hey,
I'm so good at this.
Hey.
This city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportions.
Venkman. Peter.
I do. Okay. I couldn't help it. It just popped in there.
That's Dr. Raymond Stantz. I know that because Haskell has a little golden book of the Ghostbusters, and that's one of the quotes in it.
Oh. Finn, you're up, and you're going to be testing Ivan.
This job is definitely not worth the $11,500 a year.
That was definitely Winston Zedmore in the
Yes.
first one.
A classic.
Celeste, you're going to test Jason now. Let's put the director to the test here. Can he name which character said this?
All right. Do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography, telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis?
I believe that was Janine, played by the great Annie Potts, who, if I'm not mistaken, is actually listening to us. I see her icon. So, hi, Annie.
Yes.
Hi, Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Yeah, I got to say, it's actually pretty intimidating to scroll down and you see all the people who are listening. It's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have scrolled down.
It is really funny seeing Gil there and just being like, hey, Gil. Loved Monster House.
It was you who said that it's going to get a little trickier when we get to Ghostbusters 2 quotes. So now we're moving on to Ghostbusters 2 quotes. Logan, I think you have one for me.
Here we go. I hate Jell-O.
All right, that's a tougher one because I'm going to say that sounds like something Winston would say.
Yep.
All right. McKenna, you're up again with Carrie.
Okay. This is not directed towards you, Miss Carrie, by the way. I think that
Thank you,
you're
my
a beautiful,
dear.
wonderful lady. But you worthless piece of slime, you ignorant, disgusting blob.
I think you gave me another Dr. Raymond Stantz.
Oh.
Remember, guys, I was born. I was already
music?
born. I watched these movies when I was a child.
Finn, you are once again going to test
All right.
the knowledge of Ivan Reitman.
Imagine if Ivan was like, oh, I actually don't know this one. Suck in the guts. Oh, I actually think this is the most underrated Ghostbusters line in any of the movies, which is suck in the guts, guys. We're the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's certainly, that's certainly Bill Murray, and I'm saying Bill instead of Peter Venkman because Bill actually said it on the set as we were preparing the stuff and wearing that stuff, and he would. It was, he wanted to look good. He wanted everybody to look good, and so he was directing a little bit.
Well, I got to tell you, I always think of that line whenever I'm getting dressed up for an event. I'm like, dude, you can't. You gotta suck in the guts, guys. Let's see. I think we have another one here. Celeste to Jason.
Yes. My last one to you, Jason.
Oh, God.
All right. Let's see what happens when we take away the puppy.
It's my favorite line in the film. That is 100% Egon Spengler and fun Easter egg. They're going to take the puppy away from my sister.
Yeah, that was Catherine Reitman playing the role of the young girl in there.
Classic.
Oh yeah.
No brownstone stone boy number 2, but it'll do.
Yeah, seriously, where's my quote? The most important quote in Ghostbusters history.
Go ahead, Jason. Say it.
Oh God. My dad says you guys are full of crap.
Oh God, don't make me say you guys are full of crap.
I gotta say, it has been absolutely wonderful having all of you here together for this. I'm really sorry about the little technical snafus there, but I really appreciate everyone doing this today. Ghostbusters Afterlife opens only in theaters on November 11th. I want to thank Jason Reitman, Ivan Reitman, Carrie Coon, and Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Celeste O'Connor, and the legendary, the truly a Renaissance man, Logan Kim. So thank
Man
you
of the
all for
hour.
doing this today, and thank you all
Thank you
to
very much.
all of our listeners. And again, Ghostbusters Afterlife only in theaters November 11th.
Later, guys.
Yay!
Bye, guys. It was nice to hear you.
See ya. Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
Guys.
Bye.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.